was being wide angle again. Hello, YouTube, whatever your names are. Hello, everybody. You can see my light in the corner. We'll live. We'll live. And then let me get TikTok. TikTok's actually ready to go. I'm proud of myself with TikTok. There we go. I had TikTok ready this time, shockingly. All right, one sec here. TikTok, switch mirror. Boom. There we go. Hello, all. Hello, everybody. Hello, Moto. How are we all doing today? Everything good? Sound is hopefully, actually, let's see. TikTok, is audio being good on TikTok, hopefully? We shall see. Just a couple people on TikTok so far. My sound isn't always good on TikTok. Is the microphone being good today? TikTokers, hopefully. Hey, Linda Lou. Hey, Erica. Hey, Nick. Parfait. Ça, c'est parfait. Alors, super. Super. All right. Welcome, everybody. Hello, hello. Crying. I'm laughing. King's got the old talking points. Don't you hate? I feel bad for our trolls when they have the wrong talking points. You've got, and it's really makes me laugh. Welcome, everybody. By the way, this is a very popular show. We're very good at what we do. We have a lot of trolls because it freaks them out that I give you the unvarnished truth of what's going on in the news, domestically, internationally, Russia, Ukraine, Donald Trump. And they get the same talking points. Thank you, Cryfox. And one of their talking points is, you're crying. And my guess is in Russian, that talking point probably is very funny or something. It doesn't work in English, but they love it. You're crying. And just like, you're crying in English? That just isn't, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, thank you, Aileen. Appreciate that. Anyway, welcome, guys. Oh, tired guy in Glasgow. That's got to be a good accent. Hello, everybody. Pedro, Adventures, Annie, Big Hawk. Lots of gifts coming in. Thanks, guys. So welcome, everybody. I'm John Aravosis. This is my nightly show. We do Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. We talk about the latest news from the U.S. and also internationally. Focus on Ukraine because that's been an issue a lot of us have cared about. Hey, Danny. But also a lot of stuff is about Trump, what's going on in Washington because, sadly, that does matter. So, what do you do? Hey, aviation. Yeah, Cody, the problem is they're not American. They're not Anglophones, and they're using talking points that they've been given. So it doesn't really make sense. Oh, and we're talking about Epstein today, by the way. Thank you, Visionary. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Joy. Actually, who just did that was Annie that did the big powerful mind. Thank you, Annie. Appreciate that. Anyway, so how's everybody doing? We've got an okay amount of news today. I'd say it's a decent amount of interesting news tonight. We'll go through it. Hey, Terry, we'll go through it. We'll talk about it. Sort of the way I try to do the show for anybody who's new is try to my background is media and politics, law as well. And I try to basically find the stories that I think are interesting and then explain them as somebody who's lived in Washington for far too long, to try to give you a sense of what's actually going on with the news. Anyway, and I think it works. So, all right, let's get rolling here. So welcome, everybody. Please keep the gifts coming. As you know, your gifts pay my bills. So that's why I harp on you for the gifts. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Max. I do try to do shout outs. Thank you, Joy, as well. Can't shout out for every gift, but because I'm talking, but I do try. So thank you all. Let's get rolling. There is no coffee talk on Saturday. Saturday, I'm flying to Chicago, staying for a week and then flying back. So the next two coffee talks on Saturdays are canceled, postponed, but, and maybe shows next week. Let's just see. Probably shows next week. I just don't know how busy or not I'm going to be in Chicago. I don't know. But probably I'll be doing many shows, I think. Putin is not going to get arrested in Alaska. No. Let's start talking about that. That was our first topic anyway. Trump is having a summit tomorrow with Russian President Putin. It's a little weird. Thank you for the diamond, Mary Ann. Very nice gift. Thank you for that. I was wondering what that gift looked like. Thank you for that. Very generous as well. Thank you, Jorge. So Trump is meeting with Putin tomorrow in Alaska. It's a little weird. I liked sort of the New York Times or one of the papers today was like, typically previous presidents would have gotten a concession out of Russia in order to meet with them. Donald Trump was like, please meet with me. So that's unfortunate. Putin has been isolated on the world stage since he invaded Ukraine the first time in 2014, but especially since he extended the invasion in 2022. It's unfortunate that Trump is basically giving Putin a free pass. He should have said, you need this meeting more than I do. If you want to meet me in the U.S. and you want to meet Donald Trump, the great and wonderful Oz, you need to give me something. And Putin didn't give him anything. Oh, thank you, Blue, for the speakers. Putin didn't give him anything. And Trump didn't ask for anything, which was stupid. But what do you do? Trump responded to reporters' questions today. This is actually fascinating. So Trump, like a week ago, announces, or more or less a week ago, announces this summit with Putin, and basically says, oh, we've got a plan. We got a peace plan. Ukraine needs to give up a bunch of land. And if Ukraine gives up a bunch of land, Russia will be willing to meet with the Ukrainians. And we were like, wait, your peace plan is that Ukraine should give up a bunch of land, and in exchange, Russia will negotiate? That's not a peace plan. That's insane, right? I mean, you could, and I've talked about this before, you could argue, I don't know if it's a good idea, but you could argue if Ukraine gives up land to Russia, Ukraine can join NATO, for example, so that Russia can never invade again. The Ukrainians would have to decide if that's acceptable, but that's at least giving the Ukrainians something big if they were to give up land. I'm not saying it's a good idea. It's up to them, right? But that's at least a big gift in exchange, right? You give up land, you join NATO. So no, Russia can never attack you again. What Trump was proposing is Ukraine give up land to Russia, additional land that Russia doesn't even control. So like additional Ukrainian land, give up land to Russia, and in exchange, Russia will be willing to sit down and negotiate with you. Wait, it's like, what? What the hell is that? So what is interesting to me, thank you, Tarmo. Thank you, Larissa. What is interesting to me is that Trump has now changed his tune 180 degrees. Yesterday, we noticed already Trump was kind of backing off, and the White House was saying, well, we're not going to agree to anything that we're going to force the Ukrainians to do. But Trump's big goal was a ceasefire. And remember, if Putin didn't agree to a ceasefire at this meeting tomorrow, Trump was going to make Putin pay for it and all this kind of crap, right? Today, listen to this. Responding to reporters' questions in the Oval Office, Trump today seemed to be trying to minimize expectations for his meeting with Putin. The goal of the meeting, according to Trump, so the goal of the meeting was to agree to this peace plan. Then the goal of the meeting was a ceasefire that Putin better agree to, or else, Trump said yesterday. Today, the goal of the meeting, according to Trump, is not to walk away with a ceasefire agreement, but to set the table for more meetings, including one that would include Zelensky. So, just to reiterate, the goal of the meeting tomorrow is to plan more meetings. That's it. That's the goal of the meeting. Thank you, Vasi, for following me, by the way. That's the goal of the meeting. Okay. Okay. Sounds kind of dumb to me, but whatever. Well, Putin, we found out, Putin has an entire other goal for the meeting. The Kremlin announced today that they want the meeting to be, oh yes, it'll be about Ukraine, but they want the meeting to be about nuclear arms control and trade agreements. So Putin has decided, and he's not wrong, that Donald Trump wants this agreement more than Putin does, okay? And that Trump so wants this agreement that he wants, not just Ukraine, Trump wants agreements. Trump wants treaties. Trump likes to look at the trade stuff, right? Trump likes to look at all the trade agreements. He wants to reach a deal with Putin. So Putin says, let's make even more deals. Let's do a trade deal. Let's do a nuclear deal. Of course, the trade deal would require Trump lifting the sanctions. They can't do trade with Russia unless we lift the sanctions. Well, the sanctions aren't supposed to be lifted until Putin agrees to peace on fair terms. So, right, so Putin is already playing games. He's already playing games. Big surprise there. Anyway, what else we got here? Yeah, Trump's quote yesterday, I'll give you Trump's quote. Trump's quote yesterday was, there will be very severe consequences for Putin if he doesn't agree to halt the war after Friday's meeting. Today, Trump said Friday's meeting isn't about halting the war. It's about planning more meetings, maybe one with Zelensky. Well, if you're trying to negotiate peace with Russia in Ukraine, how do you do it without the Ukrainians present? The two people who are fighting are the Ukrainians and the Russians. How do you negotiate peace without the Ukrainians and the Russians negotiating? It's insane. Now, why Trump is doing this, or why Putin's doing it at least, Putin's doing it for a couple of reasons. One, actually, New York Times had a great quote. Hold on. Let me find this quote. I love this quote from this quote made me laugh, from the New York Times. Listen to this. Thank you, Joshua, for the gift. Mr. Putin believes that Russia's vast nuclear arsenal still makes it a world power, even though Russia produces very little that the rest of the world wants apart from energy. I thought that was one of the bitchiest quotes I have read in the New York Times in a very long time. That really cracked me. That cracked me up. So yeah, Putin believes that Russia's nuclear arsenal makes it a world power. Putin, and he already got what he wanted. Putin wants to have a meeting with Trump to talk about Ukraine. Putin thinks he's the Soviet Union. He thinks Russia's just as important as the Soviet Union was. It's not. The Soviet Union had a lot of power around the world, military, cultural, not really economic, but cultural certainly. Today, Russia is, a small entity compared to what the Soviets were militarily, small compared to the Soviets' population, small compared to the Soviets in terms of culture. Certainly, I mean, the Soviets at least, they had a lot of culture. I mean, it was a brutal dictatorship. Russia, like the New York Times said, Russia has oil and gas and nuclear weapons. That's about it. So very interesting here. Very interesting. One moment here. One moment here. I like to mute some trolls myself just for fun. There we go. So occasionally I get to mute the trolls. It makes it a little more fun. So what's going on is, part of the reason this is such a victory for Putin tomorrow, having this summit with Trump, is in the Soviet days, the Soviet Union liked to pretend, the Soviet Union liked to, and America did it too sometimes, divvy up the world, like divide the world in half. And they called it like the condominium. Russia would get half and America gets half. And we've got our part and you got your part. And we would, divide up the world the way colonial powers would. Therefore, Putin doesn't want the Ukrainians at the negotiating table. He wants to be treated like the Soviet Union. He wants us to claim that, you're the other most important country in the world, Russia. Not even close, right? America, most important country in the world, like it or not, we are. China, pretty damn close. And then it goes from there, right? Then it goes from there. Russia, no way. No, they're not tied with us. They're not tied with China, right? As far as most important countries in the world. And the Russians want to go back to the Soviet years where the Soviet Union was the equal to America, right? And America and Russia would get together and divide up the world. Putin wants to get together with America and divide up Europe and make decisions about Ukraine and NATO and And that's what's so dangerous about Trump meeting with him, among other things, is we are giving Putin this it's like letting him fly first class, and he bought an economy ticket, right? The Russians are economy class, and we're treating them as though they're first class. They're not. Anyway, a little more here. So the summit's tomorrow. What happens, God knows. Trump has clearly minimizing expectations now, which is great. I mean, absolutely great. And we shall see. But really no news yet. Let me see. Dave was talking about a story. Federal agents. Wow, how obnoxious. This is how fascism arrives in America. Federal agents were in attendance as California Governor Newsom took to downtown Los Angeles Thursday to promote his redistricting plan. Newsom, who has proposed changing California's congressional districts to offset a similar action by Republicans in Texas, spoke at the Japanese American National Museum. Just outside in the Little Tokyo area, however, 100 federal agents gathered, presumably for another immigration raid. Newsom's presence, using a tone and format often associated with Donald Trump. Newsom's been tweeting like Trump recently. He's been tweeting like Trump to annoy Trump, and he writes in all capital letters, uses wrong spelling. It's pretty funny. Border Patrol has showed up at our big, beautiful press conference. We will not be intimidated. Now, what bothers me about this, among other things, you do not send federal agents to intimidate elected officials. You do that in Russia. You do that in the Soviet Union. You do that in communist China. You do that in Hungary, even, I would say. You do it in Venezuela, El Salvador, Nicaragua. In America, you don't send federal agents to harass elected officials. They were sent there to intimidate the democratically elected governor of California. That is fascist. That is un-American. It is incredibly inappropriate. Not to mention on a more basic level, you're spending federal tax dollars to send federal agents to go harass the governor of California. Why? Don't they have anything better to do? I don't know. Like, supposedly you're worried about immigration. Can't they go do an immigration raid if that's what you care about? Whatever. But it's really amazing. Really freaking amazing. Absolutely amazing to me. I mean, but big surprise. And good for Governor Newsom for going after Trump on this. I mean, it's un-American. It's fascist. If Barack Obama were doing this, if Joe Biden were doing this, my God, right? I mean, my God, just imagine. Just total snowflakes. Exactly. Total freaking snowflakes. The Republicans on this one, which actually is part of it. The one good thing is that Trump is really showing his cards. And I'm glad you called him a snowflake, because you're right. Trump really is a snowflake on this one. By the way, mods, that's got to be a total troll. But nonetheless, I think it's funny that he said snowflake, because Trump is acting like a snowflake. They're so freaked out by Gavin Newsom, that they've got to send federal agents to intimidate. And Newsom is turning this into a run for the presidency, guaranteed. I mean, at this point, Trump is potentially handing the presidency to Newsom, which is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating, right? Oh, Brian, you didn't get the talking points. Your earlier troll. Brian's bringing up the crying. Brian, had you been here earlier, you wouldn't have used the crying talking point, because the troll at the beginning of the show used the crying talking point. Our trolls are reusing talking points now because they didn't watch the beginning of the show. And this is what I'm talking about. They're getting the same talking points, guys. You're crying. I'm pretty sure I'm not crying. I'm pretty sure I'm laughing, actually. But I love this stuff. Anyway, yeah. So, okay. Since it pisses off the trolls talking about Newsom, I guess we got to talk about him some more. All right, let's talk about him. It's pissing the trolls off. So Gavin Newsom, Democratic governor of California, very smart man, very liberal. I mean, well, kind of funny, liberal, but positioning himself in the middle, which is very interesting. I know the Russian English translator is not. They should be used in Google Translate or ChatGPT translates well. But Newsom is interesting because he's Democratic governor of California, clearly wants to be president, absolutely wants to be president, right? He's got some negatives. California, perceived as being liberal, was the mayor of San Francisco, I believe. Very liberal, right? Super duper liberal, San Francisco. Those things do not help in terms of running for president. Very smart, very eloquent, speaks very well, very good attack dog. Thank you, Eggert. Very good at attacking the Republicans. I was just going to say, and he said very articulate, just like Pete. I was going to say the same thing. He's different than Pete Buttigieg, but very articulate like Pete Buttigieg. I'd say Buttigieg is even more articulate and more controlled. But Newsom is very good. Now Newsom, I think, is pretty liberal, but I think he's triangulating more to the middle. Anyway, maybe he's not as liberal as I thought. Even better if he's not as liberal, because that will help him. as far as running for president. But he's very good at going after Trump in particular. He knows how to enunciate the argument well, but he also knows how to piss Trump off. Like I said, like lately, he's been Trump as Trump. He's been writing tweets like Trump would write to, and they've been the funniest damn things. They've been really crazy because they're all capital letters using correct English. I mean, they're very funny. Thank you, Dak. But they're also guaranteed to piss Trump off, which is, the whole point. So Newsom's interesting. He's interesting, but Trump is clearly helping Newsom's presidential campaign here. Thank you, Dak, for the galaxy there. One of my favorite gifts, by the way, since I'm into science stuff. I know I'm missing being in DC. We don't get to see much. The Perseid meteor showers are going on, which is a wonderful meteor shower. But what do you do? Anyway, yeah. So he's Newsom's very good. I've got lots of other news here. The National Guard. So Trump has been really militarizing Washington, D.C., took over Washington, D.C., claimed that there was a crime emergency. Crime's been going down in Washington, D.C. for 3 years. It is a very nice gift, the Galaxy gift. Thank you again for that. Crime has been going down for 3 years. Washington, D.C. isn't even in the top 10 American cities of bad crime. I live in Washington, D.C. I've lived here 40 years. I've actually worked on crime issues. D.C. does have a decent amount of crime. Part of the problem is it's America. America has bad crime. It just does. That's the first problem. Second problem is Washington has always had a lot of crime, but of the last several years, not at all compared to other cities. Other cities, way worse, way worse. Trump is lying. Trump literally, and his own FBI director said so. Kash Patel went on TV the other day. Fake lies, are those different than true lies? I only spelled the true one. You spread fake lies. It was like, fake lies. Is that different than a true lie? A fake lie? Can there be a somewhat fake lie or somewhat true lie? So, the trolls are not, well, again, I apologize to the mods. I once again decided to put a title on today's broadcast that would piss off all the trolls. It says Trump, Epstein, and Putin is the title. Because I thought, you know what? Let's just get them all. I mean, what else could I have mentioned that would have gotten more trolls? I'm not really sure. But in any case, so back to the lies. So Trump has been lying. He's why? Probably to distract from Jesse Epstein. That's my guess for Jeffrey Epstein. That's my guess because Trump has, and it's really, again, I find it very sad because at some point, if a politician lies to you about everything, you need to wonder about that politician and you need to wonder about your support for him, because why do they need to lie to you about everything? No politician. Republicans tend not to lie about everything. Democrats tend not to lie about everything. Trump lies about so much more than any other politician in American history, really. And he's lying about crime in DC, and all the crime statistics prove it. DC crime is down significantly in the last 3 years. It's down. DC is not one of the 10 most crime-ridden cities in America. It's not even close. DC's always had crime. It was much worse like during COVID and like right before COVID, much worse right before COVID. Now it's not. It's actually getting better. So for Trump to declare a national emergency now, yeah, but Konstantinos, the problem is, don't give me that. Down is not enough. So we're going to federalize the police force and send the National Guard into our cities, and we're going to lie about the crime rate in order to do that, right? I mean, I don't know where you're from. In America, generally speaking, people have a problem with sending the military to occupy our cities. And by the way, your name is Konstantinos. If you're Greek, you have an even bigger problem than Americans do. A Greek would never accept sending troops across all the cities to do crime control. The Greeks would be in the streets doing things unheard of compared to what we would do. In Greece, they set things on fire. I mean, the protests are crazy. Molotov cocktails, crazy. Exactly. Fallen's in Greece. He knows what I'm talking about, right? You know exactly. Imagine what the Greeks would do. And again, let me put it to you this way. If Trump's goal is so legitimate, right? If Trump's goal in fighting crime is such a good thing, why is he lying about it? Why is he lying about it? Why? Right? If what he's doing is so earnest and good, why is he lying? I don't get it. What's the deal here? Right? What's he doing? I mean, it doesn't make sense. It absolutely doesn't make sense what Trump is doing unless he's up to something else. You don't lie about something. I mean, anybody who's been a child knows this. You don't lie about something unless you're doing something bad. If you're doing something good, you can tell the truth. Why is he lying about crime in DC in order to put these troops all over DC? Well, I mean, the most obvious answer, Jeffrey Epstein, right? He needed something big to distract and detract. And what do, Jeffrey Epstein? Now, I wanted to mention National Guard. This story about the National Guard today was just, I mean, it's sad, funny, but sad. The New York Times reports all 800 National Guard troops are now in Washington ready to work. And they're working in groups of 100 to 200, but it gets better. They're there to fight crime, right? They're unarmed. Okay. This is America. How are you fighting crime unarmed? This is America. The criminals all have guns. Actually, everybody has guns, but the criminals all have guns. How are you fighting crime if you're unarmed? This is not Britain, right? I think a lot of your cops don't have guns, right? Which again, that works for you guys. It doesn't work for us. But think about that, right? They're unarmed. It doesn't make. I don't want armed troops in our cities, but you've got these guys going into like crime-ridden neighborhoods and without guns in America? Okay, that just strikes me as kind of stupid. It gets better. One of their main, remember how Trump said this was because of carjackings and all this kind of crazy crap? Listen to what they're saying today. By the way, remember what I told you too. If somebody keeps changing their explanation to you, if they keep coming up with a different excuse and a different excuse and a different excuse every day, it means they're lying, right? It's the surest way to tell if someone's lying is if every day they come up with a different excuse and it keeps changing, right? Listen to this. Trump says the National Guard will support Washington police and federal law enforcement officers by protecting national monuments and federal buildings. National monuments and federal buildings? When were our national monuments in danger? I'm a little confused. I thought this whole thing started because that guy working for Trump got mugged by a group of really scary guys, right? I mean, like, I thought he said crime was out of control. Why is their primary job of the National Guard in DC protecting national monuments? Did somebody threaten our national monument? I mean, the Republicans did on January 6th, but now? So they're guarding statues? I thought they were going to get rid of crime. They're guarding statues and federal buildings. When were federal buildings threatened? Nobody's threatening federal buildings. I mean, again, I've lived in DC for 40 years. The crime that happens in this town, other than January 6th, of course, the crime that happens in this town is not against federal buildings and it's not against monuments. It's against regular people like us that are walking on the street. So, and Trump himself said so. Trump said he was doing this to fight crime because crime was out of control. So if Trump said he's putting them on the streets to fight crime, why are they protecting statues and federal offices? But Trump said, right? Trump said that wasn't the problem. Trump said it was crime against individuals. So why is he lying? Again, remember I told you, whenever these guys are lying, right? He claimed he needed to put the federal troops there to fight crime against individuals like muggings and carjackings. And now he's using them instead to protect monuments and federal buildings. That's not, he lied. It gets better. They're conducting community safety patrols. Okay, I don't mind that. That means walking through neighborhoods at night and stuff. Okay. It's kind of a waste of time, but I mean, it's a waste of time for them, but I don't mind having, I think the National Guard patrolling my neighborhood is a bit ridiculous. The only time we had the National Guard patrolling our neighborhoods was right after 9/11 in Washington. Literally after September 11th, we had the National Guard patrolling our neighborhoods. That's it. So little creepy that Trump thinks we need to do it now, but whatever. And here's my favorite part. The National Guard in Washington is going to be conducting community safety patrols, fair enough, and carrying out area beautification. Area beautification? They're picking up litter? He's sending the National Guard to Washington to guard statues and pick up litter. Really? Like, really? I mean, well, that's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. Lizzie just said they mean moving the homeless. That might be what they mean. They might mean, I thought of that as I was saying it, Lizzie. They might mean picking up the homeless and kicking them out. They might mean that. That also strikes me as inappropriate because here's the thing. I mean, on a number of levels. And we've talked about this. I am no fan of homeless encampments. Okay. No fan at all. The tent thing, inappropriate in cities. You don't clear them out with the US military. That's insane, right? I mean, they're homeless. They're not like Al-Qaeda, right? You don't use the military to clear them out. Again, that's the kind of crazy thing you do if you're an authoritarian state. I mean, it's not even about where they go. You don't do it. You don't use the military to go after the homeless. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Anyway, well, that's because you were rude, user 538. If you're talking about me, it's rude. You're going to be muted again. So let's see if 538 isn't as rude today. Unless you meant something else, it sounds rude. I got to tell you. All right. Pew poll, big poll out, by the way, of Trump. Really bad for Trump. Now let's see what it really means. Let's see what it means. But big bad poll out for Trump. Pew is a very credible polling source. Pew is one of the most credible out there. Totally independent, totally objective. None of them are political, most of them, but not Pew especially. Very independent. Pew did a poll of Donald Trump and how he's doing. Okay, and I'm just going to read you the numbers. Very, very interesting. Now, let me step back a second. Trump is ruling as an autocrat. He cares about the numbers because he's a narcissist and he's insecure. He doesn't care about the numbers because he's an autocrat and he's going to do what he wants. But Trump does care, which is good. Also, Republicans care because it affects the next election. It affects the election after that. So these numbers do matter for Republicans. What is interesting to me is what the numbers show, because they show Trump doing poorly even with Republican voters. That's interesting. That's quite it. Listen to this. So Pew. 61% of Americans disapprove of Trump's tariff policies. 38% approve. Interesting. 46% disapprove of Trump's big, beautiful tax bill, his big tax cut for the rich bill. 46% disapprove. 32% approve. Interesting. Mods, just see how Constantino's doing. If he's being a jerk, get rid of him. But I mean, you figure it out. 53% say Trump is making the federal government work worse. Only about half as many, 27%, say he's making the government work better. Right? Hi, David. You might want to Google, because you're going to be very embarrassed in about 2 seconds. First of all, in case you missed it from 30 seconds ago, this is a Pew poll. Pew is probably the most respected pollster in America. Super independent, super objective, super reputable. Pew it doesn't get more reputable than Pew. So had you listened, you would have, guys, get rid of Constantino. Just get rid of him, please. But yeah, you would have known that had you bothered Googling. So Thank you, Blue. All right. So 53% say Trump is making the federal government work worse. 27% say Trump is making the federal government work better. Again, this is a huge part of what Trump is doing, all of this cutting AID, everything else. AID, let's go real quick because Costanino decided to be a troll about AID. USAID was foreign aid, one of the best agencies we had in this country. They were saving millions of people around the world. They were saving people with AIDS. They were saving people to not get AIDS, babies. They were helping feed starving people in Africa and other countries, in other regions. And their budget got killed. And according to Republicans, thousands of people are already dead and hundreds of thousands will follow, according to Republicans like David Brooks, because of Elon Musk and Donald Trump killing the largest aid program in the world, which was America's. We went around the world and we literally saved people from dying. And by the way, and let's talk about it because the trolls wanted to bring it up. Let's talk about it. Because AID, anybody who mentions AID and criticizes it is telling you who they really are. Because A, they don't have any clue about what that program really is. They learned about it 6 months ago because of Donald Trump. They'd never even heard what it was before. And they heard Elon Musk say, and Elon, I love Elon because Elon doesn't know what he's doing. Elon got confused. Elon's big argument against USAID was confusion about Mozambique. He got confused and Trump repeated it. Elon, his big hook about why AID, why foreign aid was bad, because he claimed we were giving condoms to Hamas terrorists. Yeah. What happened was, help me out here. Was it Gaza? Was that it? What was the name Gaza? There's a town or a region in Mozambique that I believe is called Gaza. It was Gaza. And the U.S. was providing contraceptives to this town or region in Mozambique because it helps stop the spread of AIDS. And that is a really helpful thing, right? We don't want AIDS spreading all over the world. We were providing condoms. The name of the town or region is Gaza. Elon, and Trump then ran with this too. Elon goes, oh my God, AID is providing condoms to Hamas terrorists in Gaza. And Trump ran with it. They all ran with it. They were not providing condoms to Hamas terrorists in Gaza. They were providing condoms to poor people in Gaza, Mozambique, an entirely other country. Okay. The other thing Elon did, there were a couple things Elon did. There was the Gaza thing. Oh, they're taking money. They're taking U.S. foreign aid money and giving it, subsidizing newspapers. They found that money from USAID went to Politico or Axios, I forget which, a political publication in Washington, D.C. Oh, dog wants some water. 1 second. This gets better. We're going to continue here. Hello, dog. 1 second here. Get you your water. 1 second here. All right. 1 second. There you go. All right. So Elon and Trump's other big revelation was, oh my God, USAID, instead of spending money on poor people around the world, they're sneaking money to American left-wing publications, right? Like a subsidy. Well, people looked into it. They were not left-wing publications. They were stuff like Politico and Axios. Like, I think it was Politico, like one of the best political publications in Washington, totally objective. And they weren't sneaking them money. They were buying subscriptions. They were buying subscriptions to newspapers. And the Trump people with Elon at the lead said, it's actually a subsidy. They're slipping the money to subsidize left-wing media. They were newspaper subscriptions. Okay. So they went and they destroyed AID. Millions of people are endangered. Thousands of people have already gotten AIDS, according to Republican David Brooks. Thousands of children have already died. Children have already gotten AIDS, according to David Brooks, who's a big Republican. That's what Donald Trump did. I mean, it is absolutely disgusting what they did. By the way, and this is a hugely important point. And I mean, he's destroying the country in many ways. The reason we give foreign aid is not because we're nice people. I'm sure the people at AID were nice people. But as a country, we don't give foreign aid because we're nice people. We actually don't give foreign aid to save starving people. I mean, we really don't. That's not the motivation. We do it to buy influence. It's, as Deep Blue just said, soft power. We do it to buy influence. Now, some people, thank you, Mustard, thank you, Eddie, for the gifts. Some people do it. I mean, obviously, right? Obviously, there's some people in government that do it because they want to help people, etc. But at the macro level, at the top level, the reason we give foreign aid, John F. Kennedy created this stuff in the early 1960s. The reason we give foreign aid is to buy influence, okay? We do it so that countries like us, we help save their people. We help people not get AIDS. We help people with AIDS get drugs, or HIV get drugs so that it doesn't turn into AIDS. We give them drugs so their children don't get AIDS. We give them food so they don't starve to death. We do it. We give them medicine. We do it to buy them off. So the people of that country like us. So the government of that country likes us. And what do? The government of the country likes us, and what do? They start to do favorable trade deals with us because they like us. They start to give us military bases or let us use their military bases because they like us. And what happens? We decide to bomb countries like Iran, and suddenly we realize we need those military bases. It is all, and because they like us, because we have helped in these countries stop people from dying and getting sick, it helps stop the Russians and the Chinese from influencing them instead. Come on in. That's the other thing. It helps prevent the Chinese and the Russians from getting in there because they like us first, or they like us more because we've got more money, more whatever. That is the reason we had foreign aid. We did it because it projected America's power. It also helped protect and extend America's military. And it helped our military operations. And these guys who don't know anything about anything just decided to kill it on a lie. And by the way, again, Donald Trump lying, right? He couldn't tell you that USAID was actually one of the best programs in America, saving millions of lives every year. He couldn't tell you that. Because even for Republicans, I would hope the idea of taking away life-saving support for millions of people would hopefully be upsetting to them. So he lied and said they're giving condoms to terrorists in Gaza, which was ridiculous. And of course, people believed it because for some reason, some people get lied to and they don't bother checking the truth. So yeah, I'm glad the trolls brought up USAID, because you let us talk about and remind people of how much damage Trump has done to innocent children around the world. Thank you, Tanya. And to the U.S. military. Thank you, it's me. And to the projection of U.S. power and the safety, really, of the U.S. around the world. Really, really sick. And thank you, Tanya. Thank you, James, for the lemon. Oh, that's true. Manana said, remember, the food sent to those countries were bought from U.S. farmers. They would buy several $billion a year with a B, several $1 billion a year of U.S. food that they would ship to other countries. They were bought from U.S. farmers. Now that money is gone. The money is gone. Absolutely gone. Congratulations. And now what the Trump people are doing, they're going to burn a bunch of contraceptives in Europe. There were a bunch of contraceptives going to Africa and other places, again, mostly to prevent the spread of AIDS. And because Trump killed USAID, the contraceptives aren't going, and they're going to burn them, the Trump people. You know, thank you, Jan. I mean, it's yeah. It's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. No, I mean, what do you do? What do you do? Let's talk more about the poll, because let's talk more about the poll numbers, though, because the poll numbers are horrific for Trump in this Pew poll. We sort of got on the tangent because the troll jumped in. The poll numbers are very bad. That's good. It's going to take time, but the fact that the poll numbers are bad for Trump, this is what happened last time. People got sick of Trump. By the end of the 4 years, people were so sick of him, it hurt the Republicans. Then, of course, people voted for him again, But listen to this. More poll numbers. 55% of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents now say Trump is improving the way federal government works. Okay, here's the thing. Only 55% of Republicans think Trump is improving the way government works. Only 55%. Again, Republicans should be 93%, thinking that Trump's changes to government are improving things. Only 55% thinks Trump's improving things. That's among Republicans, okay? In the weeks, even better. Oh, thank you for the North Star there, Tom. In the weeks after he took office, 76% of Republicans expected he would make government work better. 76%. Now only 55% think he is. So again, the number dropped to 20% of Republicans who think Trump is doing a good job making government. Again, that's interesting. Trump's approval rating has slipped 3 percentage points over the last 2 months and is down 9 points since shortly after he took office. The drop is attributable to a combination of declining approval among his 2024 backers and adults who did not vote. The vast majority of Trump's voters continue to approve of his job performance, but it's down to 85% from 88% in June and 95% after he was elected. So Trump's inauguration, his job approval among Republicans was 95%. Now it's 85%. Again, among your own party, your approval should be in the 90 percentile. Among your own party, if your party tends to act like a cult, you should be 95, 98%. You should not be at 85%. That's interesting. Public assessments of Trump on several personal traits are also more negative than they were in 2024. Fewer now say he cares about the needs of ordinary people. Only 37% think Trump cares about the needs of ordinary people. A good role model, only 29%. Is mentally sharp, 48%. I'm kind of surprised they even got that. Fewer than half of Americans express confidence in Trump on key issues asked on the survey. Trade negotiations, 47% are somewhat confident. Immigration, 46%. Foreign policy, 43%. Healthcare, 38%. All of those are under 50%. Trump is not getting majority support on any issue, on any main issue. Epstein. Let's talk about Epstein. This is fascinating. Epstein, the poll numbers on Epstein are horrible, even among Republicans. This blew my mind. 7 in 10 Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of information related to the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. Republican views are fairly divided. 53% disapprove of Trump's handling of Epstein, 44% approve. More Republicans disapprove than approve of how Trump is handling Epstein. A majority of Republicans disapprove. That's huge. That means this Epstein. Now, it depends how deep it goes, because what you have to look at is not just people's views. Excuse me, burping here. Not just people's views, yay or nay, but how strongly do they hold those views? We don't get that in this poll, because you could say, yeah, I disagree with him, but I don't care. That's possible, right? But in this case, a majority of Republicans disagree with how Trump is handling Epstein. That's very, very, thank you, Wilbur. That's very, very interesting. Disapproval is higher among young Republicans than older Republicans. And most Americans distrust what the Trump administration is saying about Epstein. 63% say they have little or no trust in what Trump is saying, including 88% of Democrats and 38% of Republicans. So 38% of Republicans have no faith in what Trump is saying about Epstein. Guys, that's almost 40% of Republicans who think Trump is just lying about Epstein. I mean, well, what this says to me is the Epstein issue is an issue that Democrats should push even harder on, I think. And I mean, they are, and we know they have been. Adjust my camera so I can sit back. But very interesting. I thought that was very interesting. Anyway, but good, Actually, we went long tonight. It's funny. I can never tell how, why? Because the trolls got me on a tangent. That's true. I forgot about that. Anyway, oh God. So last night they did a woman I know who's very good. She was kind of funny. Michelle's great. Her last name's like Ringet. I can never pronounce her last name. But Michelle lives in another area of Washington, not terribly far away, but not my neighborhood, by 14th and V, 14th and U, 14th and V, 14th and W. And the Trump people Yeah, Michelle, cute. The Trump people decided to set up a roadblock in town, like in a busy, residential neighborhood, to basically arrest people and just stop the cars and arrest them, and check for seatbelts, check for lights on the car, and whatever. And and it's her neighborhood. And they've got like 20 DEA, FBI, National Guard, 20 of these people. And it's like okay neighbor, there's nothing going on in the neighborhood, 20 people. And she starts streaming live for a couple hours. And as she's streaming, she's like arguing with them and yelling at them. It was really, at one point, she starts saying shame, and and everyone on the street starts joining in and going, shame, shame. She got quite the crowd. She got quite the crowd organized. She really did. Really, really impressive what she did. But again, it's whatever. It's disturbing to me because, and I've said this before, Republicans especially, Democrats less so, although Democrats still have to be careful. But Republicans, unfortunately, do a very good job of taking issues where I might even agree with them to a degree. Oh, thank you, Cynthia. I might even agree with them and making me disagree. Like crime. I have very little sympathy on crime issues. I feel like even doing traffic stops in general, I'm not really opposed to traffic stops. You can catch people that way. But you know what they're doing? They're trying to catch illegal immigrants. You know what they're doing, and they're using the military to do it. Like, it's creepy. You know what I mean? It's like so much of what he does, he's got to go too far and do the crazy stuff, And like Flying Medic said, the stops could have very well been illegal. It's very complicated when you can and can't do stops like that. So it depends how they did it. Very complicated, very, very scary stuff. Hello, dog. Hello, you. Like the census. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I always say illegal immigrants. Yeah, I don't, guys, again, welcome to my show. You're not going to get political correctness here. You're not. You're not going to get sympathy for people who are here illegally. Hey, DJ. And I don't play games. Too many people on the left, and again, I don't like the right, but too many people on the left play word games, and I don't play word games. I'm sorry, but we're supposed to pretend. Undocumented is a stupid word, and I don't use it. So, and I'm not going to, because let's be adults here. People are here illegally. It's not a good thing, No, we have to, and I think, I'm way more on the left than I am the right. That's for sure. But people police words and they play games, and we're supposed to pretend like, I'm sorry, you're here illegally. It's not a good thing. Okay. We can all admit that. That doesn't mean we send you to some prison camp in El Salvador. It doesn't mean we deport you illegally, right? It doesn't mean we grab your children, right? Obviously, but they're here illegally. And we have to play this game of pretending like they're not. And again, I get the game, because if it were my pet issue, I would do it too. I would totally play games, and I would try to play games with the words and not let you use words. But people should not be crossing the border illegally. I've said it before. I don't have sympathy for that. But we are not a fascist country. We weren't. And you don't do things that are illegal. You don't do things that are immoral, unethical. You don't grab their children. Right? You don't break the law to deport them. That's the problem. But this is where the left falls down. There is way too much sympathy for people crossing the border illegally, and there shouldn't be. As I said before, I'd love to go live in Europe. I've spent 14 years trying to get a Greek passport, because you know what? I know if I go to Europe, if I go to Greece, if I go to France, if I go to Italy, countries I love, and I try to live there illegally, they're going to grab my ass and throw me in prison. And I'll be lucky if they deport me. They're not going to say, well, John's undocumented. He's a nice guy. He's fleeing Trump, right? Let's let him stay anyway. I wouldn't expect that in a million years. Yeah. No, I'm serious. And this is where the left, and again, even the comments people are making, we play this game on the left where we try to browbeat people into agreeing with us. And guess what? Most of the country doesn't agree with us on immigration. They don't like people coming here illegally. But what they also don't like is all the crazy ass stuff Trump is doing. And that's where, and I'm glad to see the poll numbers changing, But that's where it's starting to change because he's just mean. He's breaking the law and he's mean. And people, even somebody who's here illegally, they're still human beings, right? They have constitutional rights. So A, they deserve the rule of law. B, they're human beings. You don't treat them like scum. You don't throw them in terrorist camps in El Salvador. And you don't rip them from their children, right? I mean, and that's where Trump goes too far. And we can only hope that by going too far, eventually, Trump is able to turn people off. That's the thing. Anyway, I hate this timeline. I know the timeline's only going to get worse. So, anyway, what else? Taco doesn't care about the Constitution, really. Hello, you. What are you doing? Anyway, what else? Is there a Smithsonian update? Actually, the unhoused. Don't even get on the unhoused. I was going to mention unhoused. Don't even. Actually, I remember one of the other folks was telling me there was a Smithsonian update that they put a smaller thing back or something. I actually knew that and I totally forgot about it. I totally forgot. I don't see it here. I'm not seeing here. Anyway, I doubt there's going to be a ceasefire tomorrow. No, because Ukrainians aren't going to agree to it. No. I know the Marco Rubio thing is fascinating. Yeah. What do you want for what? No, it's only 7:00. You don't get my attention right now. Oh, man, the older she gets, the more demanding she's getting. She was like, now she's licking my arm. Like, you can lick my arm. Will that mean war in Europe? Well, nothing means war in Europe right now. Not right now. Smooth transition of power? Not necessarily. There wasn't a smooth transition of power this time. Trump got away with it and he pardoned everybody. Also, here's the other problem. Trump is president. He could have people storm the Capitol and pardon every single one of them as soon as they do it. There is certainly no crime these people could do that can't be pardoned. I'm not sure there's any crime that can't be federal crimes. I'm not sure there's any federal crime that can't be pardoned. I don't think so. They could do practically anything and Trump could pardon them. But I mean, like literally practically anything. He could say, go there and be as violent as you want, go after the Democrats, do anything. And literally, they could do horrific things, if you know what I mean, ending people, right? And Trump could pardon them all. That's the scary part. So, and again, look what Trump did last time. So why wouldn't he try something like this again? He got away with it. No, it's very, very scary stuff. A pardon, Lisa, means a president has, governors do too. Governors have the power at the state level under state law. Presidents have power at the federal level under federal law. And a president has the power to basically let you off the hook if you commit a crime. They can either, there's a couple different ways. There's pardons and commutations. A commutation is, and I think I'm going to get this right. You've been convicted of a crime. You could already be in prison. And he says, okay, time served. I'm going to let you go. You're in prison for 20 years for murder. I'm going to set you free. The crime will still be on the books. You will still have a record. You're a felon. But I, as president, commute your sentence. Time served. You're free. But it's still on the books, so you still have a record, right? Or he could just pardon you. Pardon totally erases the record. Pardon means you didn't commit the crime. Pardon, it's gone. So if he pardons you, your crime goes away. Trump pardoned most of the January 6th people. He may have commuted some of them. I'm not sure if he did. He pardoned most of the January 6th terrorists, literally said, your crime doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. And you cannot be accused of that crime again. that crime's covered. So yeah, it's a very, but a president can only do it with federal crimes. A governor can only do it with state crimes. So sometimes it's complicated, but yeah, very scary stuff. Scary because no president before, Bill Clinton did a few things that were questionable. But Trump, oh my God, again, Trump pardoning the January 6th domestic terrorists. I mean, my God, no one's done anything like that in the history of the presidency. No one's done anything like that. Just unbelievable stuff. So, so, some people say accepting a pardon is accepting the charges. I don't think that's a fact. I've seen that claimed before. I don't think so. Part of the problem is, here's part of the problem. Well, if a pardon, like logically, if a pardon wipes the crime away, then how are you accepting guilt for a crime that was wiped away? Right? I mean, a commutation might be where they say you've done time served. But if a pardon says you didn't commit there's no crime, then how did you accept a crime that doesn't exist anymore? You do not have to be in jail to be pardoned, believe it or not. No, you don't, Mike. Richard Nixon was pardoned. He wasn't charged yet with a crime or anything, and Richard Nixon was pardoned. They're not pre-pardons, Danny. Biden gave pardons. You can pardon somebody before they're charged, after they're charged, before they're convicted, after they're convicted. It doesn't matter. If I were president, I could pardon you right now and say, any bank robbery you ever committed, you're free. They can't get you on. Or any crime you committed between these 2 days, in this year, or any crime you've committed up until today, I could pardon you if I were president or a governor. So that's how pardons work. You've got to say what you're pardoning, but it can be as broad as you want. It can be any single federal crime you committed in your life up until the moment I signed this paper. And then you're pardoned. They can't get you. Pardoning himself, we don't know, Zeb. It's never gone through the courts. Legal experts think a president cannot pardon himself, but they don't know. They don't know what like a Trump judiciary would say. Trump, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump tries to pardon himself. Fallen says, can another president overturn the pardon? No, but Trump is trying. Trump, and let's see where they go now, but Trump and the Republicans are trying to claim, remember they were trying to claim, oh, Joe Biden wasn't aware of what he was doing when he pardoned. Oh, Joe Biden used an automatic pen for his pardons, this kind of stuff. You cannot overturn a pardon, no. But could Trump try? Sure, right? Because again, it depends. Will the courts intervene? I mean, who knows? But yeah, Ford pardoned Nixon so that Nixon wouldn't get charged and convicted going forward. Giving Russia mining rights in Alaska. Honestly, that would be, couldn't you see that happening? Honest to God. Yeah, like Christie pardoned for tax evasion, whatever. Or was Christie? I don't even remember. Christie was charged for passive tax evasion. I don't even remember that. Not sure what you mean, kind-hearted. I didn't understand your comment on TikTok. I mean, Trump, Cliff was asking about Alaska and Trump. At this point, Trump is kind of backing down from what's expected of tomorrow's summit with Putin. Trump initially wanted Ukraine to agree to this horrible peace plan where they give up land just for negotiating, not even for peace, just to get Russia to negotiate. And then Trump started backing off and wanted Russia to accept peace tomorrow, a ceasefire. And now today Trump says, oh, tomorrow's not about a ceasefire. It's just about planning future meetings. And we were like, future meetings. Okay, whatever. So it's like, whatever. Anyway. True, Jeffrey, to a degree. Jeffrey says now that presidents have immunity, the point is moot. To a degree, yes. I mean, presidents do not have absolute immunity, but they've got a lot of immunity. So, yeah. I mean, if you want to be safe, you get pardoned anyway, right? Just to be safe, Hello, I hear you. Don't whine to me. Don't do it. Come on, please stop. The new and the new and older Sasha whines all the time. Just wait. I know. Come here. Come here. Come here. I know. We're not there yet. Hi. Come here. No, not yet. Oh my God. She just is like out of her mind there. Anyway, come here. You want to come here? You don't want to come here. You just want to sit there and whine at me from 5 feet away? You may. Hi. Come here. Sasha, come on. You guys can see I'm getting just the little, I'm getting stared. Come here. No. This is because at this, not even now. Please stop. Thank you. At this hour, I give her, stop. I give her a little bit of toothpaste that she likes and a little bit of a treat. No. God. So bad. So bad. Anyway. Sasha has become a grumpy old woman. Yes. Yes. It's either peanut butter or chicken. I forget the toothpaste. I don't remember which. But she's gotten pushier as she's gotten older. You know, she's like, I want. Yeah, Snag Queen, you are literally 1 second away from being muted. That is like the trolliest comment I've seen in a while on here that the mods let get away. So, yeah. Well, Snag Queen, there's no way Snag Queen isn't going to say something else rude, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. That is the rudest comment, though. There's no way that Snag Queen isn't a troll. So, Sasha is the best troll we've got. Absolutely, positively. Yes, that is true. The only bigger troll right now than Snag Queen is Sasha. Spare, I don't even remember if I answered it. Did I answer your question? Okay, good. I don't remember. Kind-hearted, I'm not understanding what you're writing, though. I don't understand the English of what you're writing. If there is Illadu in the country that causes dangers, I don't know what Illadu means. I'm not sure. I'm getting a sense that your English is not coming across correctly because I'm not understanding it. Sorry. You can try again, but I'm not getting it. Unless somebody else is understanding what. Oh, illegal. Ah, are you saying if people are here illegally, it's dangerous? I'm not sure. Well, I mean, not necessarily. Look, I don't want people here illegally, but that's more a question of the economy. It's a question of fairness. Like I had friends who wanted to immigrate. They couldn't because they had to go back home, right? I don't think it's fair just to let one group cross the border from the South and say, let's let them stay. And we don't let Europeans, we don't let Africans, we don't let Asians do the same thing. So for me, it's a fairness thing. I am not convinced that there's any evidence that people crossing the border are any more dangerous. Are some of them criminals? Well, duh. Some of us watching today are probably criminals, right? I mean, there's always criminals, but there's been no evidence that, we're getting an extraordinary amount of criminals crossing the border or something, right? There's just no evidence of that. So I'm not convinced that that's the best. I just don't think that's the best argument. Although, yeah, I mean, obviously a criminal can cross the border, but there hasn't been proof that that's the biggest problem. I think the bigger problem is economic to some degree, and it's not just economic, it's social as well. You got a lot of people crossing the border illegally. They end up living here illegally. They don't become citizens. They have a hard time getting jobs. If they don't get jobs, then they end up being poorer. And all of a sudden you're creating an underclass in a way of people who are here working, but can't become citizens. Economically, it can cause problems, right? I'm sure some of us are, Ben. We've got 1,000 people here. Somebody probably has done something wrong, Anyway, actually, we're almost done, guys. We're already 7:13, 13 after the hour, and my dog is finally laid down. She gave up. I hear you. I know. Right after we're almost done, Sash. Almost done. Thank you, Cheryl. Last minute gifts. Anybody wants to give some last minute gifts to help me support the show? I appreciate it. Otherwise, I'm gonna check my TikTok videos and do another video or two. I have been to Alaska probably 10 times, Andrew, because I worked for Ted Stevens from Alaska for about 5 years in the U.S. Senate. So I love Alaska. I haven't been in 30 years, but I love Alaska. I'd like to go back. Vlad is doing well. I talked to him about a week ago. He's just, hey, stop. He's just super busy because I told him about coming on Saturday's show, but his wife's been kind of sick, not been feeling well. So he's got to take care of the daughter. Well, Sasha, what do you want from me? Oh my God. Stop. Sasha, I don't know. Sasha would be DSA at this point. She's not even a Democrat. She's whiny and annoying. Thank you, Cheryl. My dog is whiny and annoying. Hey, thank you, Jens, for the gift. TBI Chris got it. I recognize TBI Chris's name. Stop. Oh my God. Jeez. Sasha's a DEI dog. Well, she was hired for her good looks. I will admit that she was. Thank you for the diamond. Oh, last minute. The diamond's a very nice gift. We know that. They're all nice gifts. Thank you, Ash. And unnecessary from Ashley, but still. Since Ashley's gift is being here. I know, Sasha. Well, hey, no. Well, no, because the worst part is she's learned this where it's wine and wine and wine and wine. Hey, wine until she gets it, because I do kind of give her some toothpaste and a treat about now, but I don't want to be reinforcing that it's been 15 minutes of whining that's doing it, because it's not. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God. Oh, so the fridge came, my refrigerator came, woo-woo. The delivery guys were very nice from Costco. Thank God, because I've read all sorts of horror stories. And it's a huge fridge. It's huge. Well, let's see if it lasts. It's an LG. We've talked about this. Let's see if it lasts, but it's huge. I'm so excited. It's such an American fridge. Even though it's not huge, it's huge. Like for an American fridge, it's okay. American fridges tend to be bigger. I don't even know if I'm going to show you. It's kind of, it's still a mess because I've got stuff all over the place, but the Americans are going to go, that's about the right size. Sorry, there's stuff all over the place. The Europeans are going to be like, oh my God, it's actually a little bigger than it looks, which is great. I doubt it's made in the USA, but that's my new fridge. I've got a lot of stuff in it already. I'm kind of waiting for a little bit more. It's wonderful. And the thing is, it's actually bigger in person. It's wonderful. Now, for an American fridge, it's normal sized. It's like 26 cubic feet. American fridges tend to be bigger than that. In France, that would be 2 fridges. But it's like 25% bigger than my old one, which makes me so happy. No ice dispenser, no water. It's got ice on the inside. That's it. No French door. I wanted simple because the problem is things break. The French doors break. The French doors give you less space inside and they break. The water dispenser breaks. Everything breaks. So I was trying to keep it simple. It's very big, which I like. So we'll see. But so far, like the freezer area is like a third full, which I'm laughing because on mine before this, the freezer was full. And now the freezer is like a third full, which has me so excited. I'm like so excited. It's only a third full now. The stuff on the counter is stuff that still has to go in the fridge. Not smart. I wanted a dumb fridge. I did not want a smart fridge at all. Yeah. No, let's see, it's an LG, but at least the size is nice. So I hope, 4 years old, knock on wood, if it's 4 years. Yeah. My old one lasted 19 years, it came when the place was built, but it finally started having issues last year. So it made it a good 8. It only had to be fixed once and made it for 18 years, but let's see, again, it's what I'm excited about is, as I said, the freezer area, I think like a quarter to a third of the freezer is full. That's it. And I was like, yes. So, but it's got a 2-year warranty. I bought 3 more years from Costco for like another $100. I was like, you know what? And it's Costco, which generally means, oh, that's good, Jim. I've seen a lot of people complaining about LG, so I was a little worried. Consumer Reports likes LGs. Cubic feet is 26. I had 20 before, so it's about a 25% increase. Actually, yeah, it's about 25% increase, and you can tell because, as I said, I've got a ton of room in there now, which is wonderful. But it's now again for an American fridge, it's not huge. it's decent because I don't have any bigger space for it. It's like 33 across. It can only go so big. Thank you, Jeremy. Oh, that was Jeremy. Is this Jeremy? Oh no, Jeremy. Oh, Kim was the fireworks thing. Jeremy did the hearts. Oh, very cool. Oh, I haven't seen Kim. That's a really nice. I've not seen that before. Ooh, that is a nice one. Thank you, Kim. Mystery firework makes me wonder if it's like different each time or something. Very cool. Thank you. So yes, I got it from Costco. Hopefully I did it because at least Costco in principle, exactly. More room for ice cream and French toast. Exactly. So anyway, I'm very excited. Check the coils every 6 months. What do? You mean go and blow them in the back or whatever, or what? What do you mean? Clean them or what? Oh, it has text in the fireworks. Sasha, I hear you. I just want to find out what I'm supposed to do with the coils from Michelle before I sign off. I didn't mention the PPI numbers. Yeah, the inflation numbers. Oh, clean them. Okay. I thought things didn't have to be cleaned as much anymore. The inflation numbers were actually not great today, which was interesting. Every 6 months, you guys clean them? Yes, you can. YouTube. The show is on YouTube. John Aravosis DC on YouTube. The link is in my bio. Go to my profile on TikTok, click that link, and YouTube will come up. I know fridge coils can get dusty, but I thought that was like an older thing. Interesting. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it'd be every couple of years. Hey, please stop. Oh my God. Walking the dog vlog. Well, and the weather was horrible today. Even now, it's so humid out there that walking the dog was not quite, anyway, every 3 months, really? Wow. Well, maybe I'll do 6 months if it doesn't hurt. Why not? I know my AC does. The AC, though, they were asking for like $700 to clean the coils, and I was not, or 700 or 800. I was like, are you kidding me? So, but it probably could use it, I'll bet. So, oh, interesting. I thought that was the problem on my old machine, but cleaning the coils didn't matter. I did buy the brush. I bought the brush, and I'm trying to think what else I bought. I got, my sister had me get kind of a Swiffer kind of thing for cleaning the coils. Yeah. Well, remind me in a year or something and I'll do it. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Thank you, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow, and then I leave for Chicago, and then we'll see next week. But we shall see. Thank you, Jeffrey Street Rat on Discord. Oops, 1 sec here. Where is this? Boom. I hear you, Sasha. I'm coming next. All right, YouTube, have a good night. How dusty? Yeah, my house is decently dusty, but now that I've got the new vacuum, Rosie the robot, I vacuum 3 times a week, so hopefully I'm going to have less dust. We'll see. All right, you guys on TikTok, thank you guys.